Right. So in our group, we are Christian, Diego, James, Kanan, Roberto, and myself, Benedikt, and we will be discussing the case between Fiona and her uncle. What happened in summary is pretty much that Fiona's uncle decided he wanted to retire and no longer keep his practice, and therefore he offered Fiona to take over some of the equipment he still had left over at the cost of 15,000 euros once he retires. Once Fiona received that note, she then tried to give her uncle a call in order to inquire whether or not it would be possible to delay the payment up until December, because she was not sure whether or not she would be able to raise that amount of money by the end of the month. She never got a reply on that, and therefore decided that she would go to a bank, ask for a loan, and see if she could raise the money, which she managed to do. So she got her hands on the money, then mailed a check as well as a written note of acceptance to her uncle on the 28th of September, hoping to be able to buy the equipment off of him. A day or so later, her uncle called her back saying that the equipment had already been sold. Now, we're going to be discussing whether or not there has been a contract, whether or not it was a valid contract, and what Fiona's rights in terms of compensation are, and what we would advise her to do.
To answer the first question, we believe it is possible to have a contract between members of families as long as there's intention to create legal relations. In this case, Fiona and her uncle have some economic interest considerations. Therefore, we believe there is intention to create legal relations.
For question two, we think that there is no acceptance nor rejection of her uncle's offer. She's rather seeking for more information. We concluded this because the uncle never specifies a specific time in which she should pay the 15,000 euros. That said, Fiona is simply asking him to elaborate on the offer.
Apart from the phone communication by Fiona, there hasn't been any contact between the two parties, and as mentioned before by Cristian, she was only asking for him to elaborate on the payment conditions. Furthermore, the uncle does not specify an acceptance deadline apart from telling her to respond fairly quickly. This means that the offer would only expire after a reasonable lapse of time, and in this case, we believe that this period of time must be at least until the intended date of sale, which is by the end of this month. Anything before that time we would consider an unreasonable lapse of time, so therefore we believe that the offer is valid by the time Fiona accepts it on the 28th.
The last question, there should be several elements for the contract to be valid, which are agreement, intention to create legal relationship, capacity, legality, and certainty and completeness. In our case, we see that we have an agreement because there was an offer she accepted on to purchase the equipment. We have an intention to create legal relation due to the fact that she agreed on the offer that was a condition of getting the equipment of 15,000, and moreover she accepted on the condition and enclosed a loan of 15,000. And we have a capacity because there was responsible for their actions and capable to agree on conditions. And the last, we have the legality due to the fact that if it doesn't go against the law as it's simple exchange of money for equipment. However, in our case, it's missing last both, which are completeness and certainty, and Roberto is going to explain why.
There is no valid contract because of lack in completeness and certainty. In this text, we can see two main examples that I'm going to explain you. First of all, Fiona's uncle, he offers some of his dental equipment, but, well, we don't know which equipment that he offers. It can be anything that you can imagine. And secondly, there is no specific date since he asked for fairly quickly date, which doesn't mention and doesn't refer any specific date. It can be during September, during Christmas. Well, probably in September since he asked to be in fairly quickly, but still we don't have any specific dates. Because of these two main reasons, there is no valid contract.
Right. So as you can see, the case was a little more difficult than anticipated. In summary, we think that Fiona does not have good chances if she were to pursue this further. We would not advise her to take this to court, as in our eyes, the contract in itself was flawed and therefore not enforceable. Fiona did everything on her part correctly, but despite of that, due to the flawed contract in itself, the contract has become unenforceable. And so we would advise Fiona to try to get her money back as soon as possible and to find the equipment somewhere else. So thank you very much for listening and enjoy your weekend.